Hi, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Kim King. I'm the Senior Director of Product Marketing at HYCU, and I'm joined by my colleague, Mark Nijmeijer, who is the Senior Director of Product Management at HYCU. We are here to talk to you a little bit about data protection in the SaaS era and how to shift your thinking to better protect the modern applications your organizations rely on today. To get started, let's look at how the IT landscape has changed as organizations modernize and adopt more cloud technologies. 15 or so years ago, most organizations looked like the stack on the far left. Pretty much everything was on premises. Cloud technologies came on the scene and organizations began adopting cloud infrastructure and maybe a little bit of SaaS. What we see with our customers today, and I would guess that most of your organizations are similar, most of our customers' environments, as they modernize, look like one of the two stacks on the right. They may still have some workloads on premises, but usage of cloud technologies has increased significantly. And it isn't just with respect to cloud infrastructure, but also cloud services. So things like DBaaS and PaaS services offered by the hyperscale public cloud providers, Google BigQuery, Amazon RDS, and also the myriad of SaaS applications organizations use to run their business. Sales and marketing tech like Gong, Salesforce, Marketo, things like Jira, Zendesk, Okta, Confluence. Once you really start thinking about all of the SaaS applications used by different departments, the list goes on and on. From a data protection perspective, this data sprawl poses some really big challenges for customers and introduces quite a bit of risk. If you think about it, you're probably protecting your core infrastructure and maybe a few of the leading SaaS applications like Microsoft 365, Salesforce. But what about everything else? To effectively protect these modern environments, it isn't just about what you're protecting and what you're not protecting, but it's also about how those things are being protected. With all of these different data sources, you already have data in silos. Unfortunately, the backup and recovery tools on the market today also protect these things in silos, often requiring some combination of different tools to provide good enough protection for some of the things you need to protect today, but still not offering a complete solution that will scale and extend to easily protect the things that you need to protect next quarter or next year or in 3 years. To really protect modern environments, we have to change the way that we approach data protection. Modern environments require modern data protection. Modern data protection helps IT departments save time, it helps them save money, and it helps them do more with the resources that you have. It does this by providing a single platform that offers choice and flexibility to meet the requirements and SLAs of a modern digital business. It reduces data silos, streamlines processes, offers flexibility. This flexibility allows organizations to tailor data protection to best suit their needs for data across their estate, everywhere from on-premises to cloud infrastructure to those SaaS, DBaaS, and PaaS solutions. It also decreases the everyday complexity of managing legacy technology. And it's extensible, so it meets the data protection needs of modern cloud and as-a-service applications. You can use a single vendor, a single platform to deliver your data across the complex hybrid and multi-cloud landscapes of today. So this sounds like a pretty tall order. What does this mean for your solution requirements? First of all, this is that same tech stack that we looked at earlier. So if you think about protecting all of these sources, the first step is needing a way to see what you have and where everything is. Today, that's done in silos. You may have one tool that shows you what you have on premises. You may have another that shows you Salesforce, and you might have another tool for some of your cloud workloads. But what you need to be able to protect a modern environment and do so in a modern way is to see and discover data across your entire estate in one place. At HYCU, we have done this with rGraph. rGraph is built into our platform at no extra cost and provides you with a way to discover and visualize data sources across your entire estate. Next, after you can see all of your data, see where everything is, you need a way to ensure that your data across all of these sources is available when you need it and that you're able to be resilient. All of these data sources are unique. Do you have the appropriate data protection for each of these sources? The HYCU platform has all of the core data protection capabilities that you need, and it was built in a way that we deliver these capabilities in a purpose-built fashion, meaning that the platform reads the characteristics of each data source, and it delivers customized protection for each source using native capabilities and terminologies. So think of the example of granular restore and being able to restore a specific Salesforce opportunity, as opposed to having to restore the entire instance. Next, you need to be sure that you're able to meet compliance criteria and that you're ready to recover in the event of data compromise. So this is really, really important, particularly in today's digital world. And we've actually seen a lot of boards and CISOs pushing really hard to ensure that companies have readiness. At HYCU, we do this with R-score, which measures your compliance and your readiness to recover. And a single number, 0 to 1,000, quantitative number that tells you how ready you are to recover. Lastly, and perhaps one of the biggest challenges we hear from customers is around simplicity. Most of you all, as technical leaders, as technical experts, you know what needs to be done from a technical perspective. The challenge is finding a way to do so that's simple, a simple way to consume all of these things that we just talked about. At HYCU, we've built a digital marketplace within our platform to make it super simple for you to consume the data protection capabilities you need. And all of this is delivered as a service through one platform without any additional hardware, software, or agents. So enough talking. I am going to hand you over to Mark, who will walk you through setup from start to finish and show you how quick and easy it is to get started with HYCU.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for the introduction, Kim. Hello, everybody. Mark Nijmeijer, part of the product management team here at HYCU. Like what Kim said, I'm going to go through the steps to basically set up the service all the way from the start, right? And over the next 15 minutes, you'll see me do some steps, configure our graph that Kim just was talking about, and then we'll actually set up protection for a Jira instance, a Jira Cloud instance that we have running in our demo environment. So let me share my screen and I can talk you through this. So here I signed up for our trial environment this morning. Everybody can sign up for a trial. You go to HYCU.com. On the top right side is like get started for free or something like that. You give us your email address and so on. And basically after we validate the email address, we spin up a fully functional instance for you. So as you can see over here, it gives you basically the account ID and a temporary password. So I've already opened this up, have the account ID in here. And now basically I can start logging in with the credentials from my email, and I have those saved on in a little file on the side. Of course, this is a live demo, so bear with me with cache credentials and so on. All right, work with me over here. There we go. That should work. All right, now we're basically going to give it a final password, our permanent password. So I have those copy pasted in as well. No, I want to update. So, and when you log in for the first time, basically we have a wizard that guides you along in the steps of basically setting this up. And the first thing it wants you to do is set up our graph. And like Kim was explaining, this covers all of the services that are in use in your organization, whether that is managed by central IT or managed by a department, or even maybe by somebody out in the organization. So for that, we're basically building the connection to Okta, and we'll do that in the following way. We'll give it a name. We'll give it a URL. And we give it the API key that I have already created within Okta. And that basically logs in through a service account into Okta, and then it does a scan of all of the services that we recognize within Okta, right? So if I do a quick refresh over here, now you can basically see in our demo environment we have things set up around Slack. We of course have HYCU itself. We have Okta, we have some Google instances, we have Bamboo HR configured, et cetera, right? And all of this basically, we kind of know what the protection status of these services are. In this case, this company would run a pretty high risk because nothing is protected yet. So let's set that up right now. And what I'm going to do basically is going to zoom in onto what we call a protection set. Think of these as like RBAC domains. So anybody that has access to a protection set can manage only the resources in that protection set. And you can set it up so there's a protection set per department or per logical group, et cetera, et cetera. First, what we need to do is set up a connection to my Jira instance. And we do this by going basically to sources, and we're going to add a source that connects to my Atlassian Jira instance. Once again, let's copy in some names over here. So this is Jira demo. I'm going to add this to the protection set that we already have, the default protection set. The staging target is automatically selected. Off type is there's only one. Organization name, demo HYCU. Then basically the username for the service account, and then also the API token that I already had generated in preparation for this demo. And this basically sets up the connection to Jira. Status is green, so we're all happy over there. Do a quick refresh again to make sure that our graph is refreshed as well. And now you can see basically within the protection set, we have Jira, and then the actual instance that I called Jira demo. If I go to SaaS, same thing, quick refresh. What's happening now is actually we're reaching out to the Jira instance and discover which projects there are. So here you can see I have in my Jira environment, I have three Jira projects that I now can set up with protection. But before I do that, I first have to configure storage, right? Because we of course need to store these backups somewhere. And HYCU, we never take a copy of your data. We're always storing we're always storing your backups in your storage that you manage, that you own the keys to, et cetera, et cetera. So there's never copies of your data within our environment. Let's do that. Let's set up a connection to Wasabi. We actually just introduced the Wasabi storage connectivity in our cloud-based platform in the most recent update that came out last week. So this is brand new functionality. Very excited to be able to talk about that. First thing we need to do, of course, is set up the connection to the Wasabi service, right? So for that, I basically give it a name. So Wasabi demo. It is, of course, Wasabi. We give it the account ID, and we give it the access key ID and the secret key. So this sets up the connection to the Wasabi from an account perspective. And then the next step we have to do, we can actually connect what HYCU calls a target. And a target basically is the connection into the Wasabi to a particular bucket, and in that bucket we'll store the backups. So for that, to do that, we have to do a quick little step around basically upgrading our service, right? So we have to quickly do a re-login to make sure I have the right password this time. There we go. Nope, still some caching going on over here. All right, now we can basically set up the connection to the Wasabi target. Now we can, so we support natively, of course, Amazon storage and and Google Cloud Storage, and this S3 compatible is new in the most recent update, right? So the target for this is the name of the bucket that I already had created. You can set up a little bit of storage capacity limits that I want to invoke. I'll keep that at the default. Service provider, once again, is Wasabi, and because we already set up the connection to the demo, I have the cloud account in my drop-down list, so I'll select that as well. And this basically connects to that storage bucket. So now we can start creating backups from Jira and store that in Wasabi. And we're going to do that by updating what we call a backup policy, a data protection policy. The policy really defines what is your RPO, how often do I take a backup, what is my retention, how long do I keep backups around for, and also where am I storing these backups. And we can basically store it in Wasabi. We can go to Glacier for archival copies, et cetera, et cetera. It's very versatile. So for this, it's as easy as basically updating the bronze policy, right? So RPO for this guy is every 24 hours, once a day, we take a backup. And basically we keep that data around for, in this case, a week. We can set it to multiple weeks, no problem. But basically here I connect to the webinar demo, which is the bucket within Wasabi. I update. And then to protect the Jira project that I want to protect, it's as easy as selecting the project, assigning the policy that I just updated. So basically selecting the bronze policy that is now pointing to Wasabi, and click assign. And that's all you need to do to protect a SaaS-based workload, right? Yes, you have to set up the storage once, you have to update the policies, but after that, to now protect more SaaS applications, it's just a one-click assign policy, one-click assign policy, right? So once again, once you're basically in the dashboard in our graph, especially at the entire organization, you can very easily basically build out protection for all of the services that are not protected yet. So in the background, what's happening right now, let me go back over here, is we're actually now already taking the first backup. We set all of that up automatically. At the moment you assign the policy, we set up the jobs, we set up the schedules, we build the connection to storage already. And over time, as I do more and more backups, we of course phase out older backups as well. That's all automatic. You don't have to worry about it. Our engine, our platform takes care of that. Here within tasks, you can actually give you some background information around what's actually going on. Of course, taking a backup is going to take some time. So for the purpose of this webinar, we're going to speed this up, and I'll see you on the other side. So setting up demo, very, very easy, very, very straightforward, just takes a few clicks. The more interesting piece really is around the restore that we've built, very granular restores, and it's really application specific. So at the moment, I click restore for this particular backup. And especially if you know Jira, all of these terms you should just recognize these, right? Of course, I can restore the entire project, all of the issues within the project. We can now restore configuration as well, or I can go down as granular as subtask or attachment. So in this case, let's restore an attachment. So think of somebody did an oopsie, deleted an attachment they shouldn't have deleted. Basically, what we allow you to do is traverse the entire Atlassian tree, all of the issues, find the right attachment, and I can select that particular attachment back into my production Jira. All right, we scan basically the entire contents of the backup, and as I open this up, you can basically see we understand the hierarchy of Jira tickets and so on. So I can go down to a specific attachment, whether that is a CSV file or in this case, let's open up number 17. I think there's a picture. Yeah, see, there's a picture under RCE 17. And basically just in a few clicks, I can now take that attachment from the backup and restore it into my production Jira, and people can continue to work. So as of course we need to open up the backup, et cetera, et cetera. So that's going to take some time as well. So let's speed this step up as well, and I'll see you on the other side. All right, the restore has completed. You can see that the task finished successfully. Took about, about a minute and 15 seconds to do that. So I hope you enjoy the speeding up there a little bit. So we didn't all have to wait. So just to recap, basically what I showed you today, I showed you basically how to initially configure the service, configure our graph by connecting to Okta. Then I showed you how to connect to my Jira instance, and it's fairly similar to all of the other services that we support, right? Whether that is Atlassian or Salesforce or M365, et cetera, it all works kind of the same thing. I showed you how to set up a connection to my Wasabi, to the Wasabi storage target, how to update the policy, and then finally, basically how to do a backup, right? And by now the compliance is green, meaning we are within our SLAs, but also how to do a very granular restore of a single attachment. So I hope this was helpful for you. Kim, back over to you. You want to close it up?
Thanks, Mark. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us today. If you liked what you saw, we would love for you to sign up for a customized demo. Here is that link on the right side, that QR code, or you can easily find that on the HYCU website, hycu.com/get/demo. And we hope to see you all in an engagement soon. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody.